Hey, what is up? It's the Ebonee Gamer again, and we're back with some more E3 thoughts. Today was Xbox's press conference, and I have to say right off the bat that and I don't always have the highest expectations for Xbox because Microsoft just, ugh, sometimes their press conferences are a trip sometimes. I have to say that I honestly think that they did come out and do way better than I've seen them do in a long time, and honestly, everything else has been kind of lackluster so far, so I think that they've done the best so far. Okay, we still have Ubisoft rather, and Sony's to get through today, so there is still that. But from what I've seen so far, Microsoft is taking the cake. And I never thought I'd say that, but I'll call a spade, I'll be honest. Alright, so let's get into it quickly because it's not too long until Ubisoft's press conference, I believe. Right away, they started off with the new console, in quotes, because it's just a slim version of the Xbox 360. Wait, 360, fuck. Xbox One, let me act like we're in 2016 and get the fuck out this time machine. Nothing too spectacular, but I have to commend them. I think the price they said was $299 if I'm not mistaken, so that to me seems fair and affordable. So if you were kind of holding off on getting an Xbox One if it was too expensive, or or maybe it was more than you're willing to spend on that at this time, then this might be the time, or this might be the opportunity for you to take to get it. I might get it myself, and I already have an Xbox One. I haven't really decided yet, but it did seem interesting. I don't really know a whole lot about the hardware, or like what the differences are exactly. They kind of touched on that, but not a whole lot, so there'll probably be more information on that, maybe even now, so you can look into that. But that was cool to go ahead and get that out of the way, since there were already rumors of a new console, so I gave them props on that for not dicking around and keeping us waiting to the end. Another thing that they kind of kept hammering in, and that's not an insult, that this was really cool, was that you can own one game and share it between the PC and the Xbox One. That is something I've been wanting for the longest time. I remember when I got confused and thought you could do that back when I bought a 2-pack version of BioShock, the first game, and Elder Scrolls Oblivion. It came in a double pack, and it talks, and the way that it's kind of worded on the package makes it seem as though maybe you could play it on the Xbox 360 and the PC, but no, you can't. It's just PC. And back then, I was like, oh, they should do that. That's a dope ass feature. And it's like, I don't know if a lot of fans have been asking for this or what for years, but Microsoft answered our prayers. If you've been praying for that, like, that's really cool. So they've been going on about how you can buy the game once and play it on the Xbox or the PC. And there's even a feature where you can save your game progress. Like, say you were playing on the Xbox and maybe you have a PC gaming laptop. You can save your progress from the console, and then wherever you're going, you can start it back up from that area from where you saved the progress on the PC. So that's really cool. Another thing that they showed pretty early on was Gears 4, and I'm so excited. I'm a pretty decently big Gears fan. I wouldn't say I'm a diehard fan, but I really do enjoy the series. And first things first, I gotta give them props. That was kind of cool the way they had Odell Beckham Jr. come through for the gameplay demo. That was dope. Nobody told me he was gonna be there. I also thought that the graphics looked a lot better, because I recently went back and played, what Gears was it? I can't think of what it was on the Xbox 360, and the graphics are a little bit of a pain there, but they really, from what I did see from the demo, it really seemed dope. Like, they really stepped their game up with that, and the characters kind of, I don't really know yet. None of them really seemed too interesting, I guess. Like, nothing story-wise really stood out to me, but we'll see, because Gears has that way of doing that for me, where it's not super story-driven right off the bat, but I do kind of get interested or into it, and I do have my favorite characters because I like the way they banter and play off of each other, so hopefully that will be there. And I believe that drops on October 11th, of course, this year, 2016. So, unless they change it later or whatever, I'm not saying it's a hard date, but I believe that's the date we were given. Another little update they gave us pretty early on was that Killer Instinct gets General Ram, also from the Gears series. That's pretty cool. Killer Instinct, I think I got that I tried it out for the first time on Xbox One when it was one of the free, the gold games. And I enjoy it. I think that it definitely takes some departures away from the typical fighter series, the typical fighter game. It's a lot more difficult. And with one of the features that I'll get into a little bit later that Xbox announced, I think that Killer Instinct will make for a good addition to that feature, because it definitely is one of your harder, more challenging fighters. So I'm excited to see what General Ram can do in there. I'll definitely try to pick up his character when they drop him. They showed some more Recore stuff. Recore looked interesting to me from the first time that I saw it. It's really fast-paced gameplay. It looked like interesting mechanics, like maybe it's kind of a build your own mini army type of thing, like take control of various machines and have them do your bidding type of thing, maybe. So that's interesting to me. There's not too much info on it that I've seen, and they showed a decent amount, not a lot, but enough to that maybe, like I said, that's my theory, maybe you can kind of build your own little minions, so to speak. So that sounds cool. I'll have to keep an eye on that and see if it gets, starts looking better or maybe worse, you never know. But I'll probably will be playing that for this channel. Now, this is something I was really wanting. They did the Final Fantasy XV gameplay demo, and it seemed like everything that I've been wanting and a little bit more. I already kind of divulged that I was super excited for this because I can finally get into the Final Fantasy series, and people have been talking about it for years, but with that turn-based combat system, it was not my cup of tea. But it seems like I've seen for a fact now that they've taken a departure away from that. That might not be something everybody's a fan of, but I'm really excited for it because now I get to enjoy it. And I thought that the demo that they showed really showed me that, I have a right to be excited about this, that I made the right decision in pre-ordering the special, big collector's edition for it. Can't wait to do an unboxing of that for you guys. They showed the characters in combat kind of having a little banter or conversation. I thought that was really cool. I love when you have a party or multiple characters and they speak to each other and you can see their personalities playing off of each other. That's one of my favorite things in a game, because it shows that attention to detail and it really helps you immerse yourself in the gameplay and the story and care about the characters. The combat was fast-paced and seemed well done, and that's my favorite type of gameplay. I like to be either constantly challenged or have something to do, somewhere to run around and explore, and it seems like we're going to get a mix of that in this game. Like I said, no turn-based bullshit, so I'm really excited about that. And this is my favorite part of the whole thing, was that it put me in the mind of Shadow of the Colossus. I wasn't expecting that, and that's just a really nice bonus to me. And I saw other people saying that as well, so I'm not alone in getting that feel. And it was really nice, because I can see that we're not going to be getting another Shadow of the Colossus anytime soon, if ever. And The Last Guardian doesn't really seem to be anything close to it. So this seems like I'm going to finally get to taste a little bit of Shadow of the Colossus style again. And I believe that drops September 2nd, if I'm not mistaken. Again, not saying that's a hard date, but I believe that's the date we were given. They also showed some more Battlefield 1. We saw the same trailer that we saw yesterday. I don't think we saw any gameplay, but they did talk a little bit more about the vehicle control. Like they again reiterated that you'll be able to control vehicles, and I think that that's going to be really cool if that's something you can do in multiplayer, because that's going to take the Battlefield to a whole other level. And I did see one of my favorite news outlets, well, not really news outlets, but one of my favorite people that I follow online for gaming news and info. I think that he and his team got to have a hands-on play with it, and they kind of said that the destruction on the battlefield was insane. So I'm really excited. Multiplayer seems like it's about to be out of this fucking world fun. Also, the World War I setting is really cool. I'm a history fanatic. I love it. So, bringing historical elements into games, combining my two favorite things, video games and history. That seems really cool. I wasn't able to glean a whole lot from the trailer, like characters or whatnot, but that stuff really doesn't matter. Like, what I'm really waiting on is some gameplay demos. So we'll see about that. That's definitely something I want to play for the channel. And if the multiplayer is as fun as I think it's going to be, oh hell yes. And I believe that that comes out October 21st, but I think they were saying like you could play it a little bit earlier. I'm not sure about the qualifications for it. There were some, like I don't know if it's Xbox Live Gold or what, but if you can play a little bit earlier on October 13th. They also had some Xbox Live announcements. One was that background music is going to be a thing. You know, you get to play your own music and choose your own kind of soundtrack to play in the background, and that's really cool because I think PlayStation 3 lets you do that with some games, but not all. And Xbox 360, I think, lets you do that with all the games. But one thing I hope that they do is that somehow I hope they make it so that they know if there's like dialogue or cutscenes in a game that the music can kind of either mute itself or get lower. Because that was one of my complaints with using that feature in Xbox 360, but I'm happy that it's coming back because when I like to play games like Call of Duty or whatever and I'm playing multiplayer, I just like to kind of unplug and tune out and just have fun to pass the time, and music combined with video games is a really great way to do that, so that's cool that they're bringing that back. I believe there's also, you can choose your own language, and I mean, you know, choose your language on any console, your home language or the language you're most comfortable with. And they're also bringing Cortana to Xbox Live. So if you wanted blue, bigger tittied Siri, then, you know, you got that. They also announced clubs, which is where you can build your own communities for various things like content creators, groups that play certain games together, your friends, whatever. So that's kind of cool. That's interesting. They also have looking for groups, which he described, I believe, as want ads for Xbox Live. So if you're looking to play online or do something specific, like maybe a challenge on an online game or something, or help with a boss or something of the sort, you can put almost like a little Craigslist, Xbox list want ad out there and find somebody to come help you out. So that's a nice feature. I hope that works seamlessly because that can make multiplayer in a lot of games infinitely better. And lastly, I believe they announced Arena, which is a tournament feature, and it can have you sign up for some, you know, lax tournaments as well as professional tournaments, so that if you're a competitive gamer, that might be something you're really excited about or looking forward to. Minecraft is another thing that they talked about. There wasn't too many interesting things that they put out, so I didn't really take a lot of note of that, but they did announce that you can play it across platforms. Like if you have it on the tablet and the PC and the phone, then you can all play together off of that regardless of what console or system or whatever you're using. So I guess that's neat. That's playing up into that theme I was talking about earlier. They also had a ton of really interesting looking indie games. One was Cuphead. I think they showed that last year, but that one I really love, that kind of old school Disney Mickey Mouse black and white feel to it. And it's a platformer, so it kind of has that old school arcade look to it. So I'm kind of excited about that. And I believe Stardew Valley, while not exactly new news, you know, it's out on the PC and has been for a minute. I believe it's coming to consoles, so that was cool to see and get a reminder on that. I don't remember all the indie games that they showed, but those were two that I did that because they were kind of showing them really fast. So that was two that caught my eye. Now, I don't think I've made it any secret that I'm a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not joking about that. I am. So We Happy Few really caught my eye. It puts me in the mind of like if 1984 had like really drunken sex with Brave New World, and their baby would probably be We Happy Few. Really, it looked really interesting. Like this is the one game that I've seen so far that they were playing it and it cuts off, and I was really disappointed. Like I felt disappointment because I wanted to keep playing. And I thought this game was already out. I didn't know that it was going to be featured at E3 because I saw Markiplier playing it. And I think he said it was like in beta or something. It wasn't like the full game or like it wasn't done, but it looked really interesting when he played it as well. So I'm excited to not only learn more about it, but actually play that on this channel. And hopefully you don't mind my little conspiracy-esque commentary. Because again, guys, that one, it really intrigued me. I'm really excited about that. Another thing that really caught me, Tekken is like one of my favorite series. Like if I had to say top 5 favorite video game series, Tekken would definitely be in there. I've been playing that game since I was a kid. I love that game. It saved me from many boring trips to the laundromat. And I'm hype as hell for this, you know. This series is one that just, it seems like they continue to give me what I've always loved about it. Like it doesn't really disappoint me that often. It's my constant. It's my safe place in gaming. So this new announcement of Tekken 7 really hit home for me. And I didn't really see anything that made me, you know, annoyed or side-eye it. They even threw Akuma in there. Yeah, I peeped his ass hopping game lines again. And I'm wondering if there are going to be any other Street Fighter characters that do that. So really excited to see more about that, see the character roster, what's gonna like if there's any gameplay changes or anything like that. And I really can't wait to see if new characters come, because new fighting styles, really excited about that. Now the next one is the one that took the cake, and this is why I say Microsoft did it the best so far. Dead fucking Rising 4. Frank West is back in this bitch to snatch everybody's crown, and you can't tell him shit. I am so excited for this. I was not ready. Like I really was not expecting this. And then even if I had been, I would not have been expecting Frank to be back. He is the one, alright? Nobody else in that series matters to me. It is Frank fucking West, the king. I mean, I got everlasting life off of that announcement. I cannot wait, yo. I'm all over that. That's a guaranteed played on this channel. Guaranteed. Day one, buying it. Another game I've been showing interest in that they showed was Scalebound, and that game is so fucking like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego mysterious? Like, why are they so low-key with that game? They showed a little bit more about Cutie with the headphones, so, you know, I'm not too mad. They actually showed some gameplay today, and it kind of is similar to what they showed with Final Fantasy. Like, it kind of reminded me of that, and a little bit of Monster Hunter as well. Like, a lot of Monster Hunter, I should say. They also revealed that there will be multiplayer. They didn't reveal, like, how that's gonna work, or, you know, how the exact details of it, just that it exists, and they showed a little bit of it. Could have kept that rock music, that's not my thing, but other than that, really no complaints, other than I would just like to see a little bit more, because they've been showing this game. This game was announced like what, in 2 E3s ago maybe? It's been a while, so, and we haven't, at least this is like the most information we've gotten on it in a long time, so I hope they move a little bit faster with that. Another game they showed was Sea of Thieves, and you know, it looked intriguing at first. Like, I love pirates. They're some of my favorite historical beings to read about. I love reading about the golden age of piracy and stuff. I'm really into that. But this game, the little build up to it seemed cool, but then they absolutely killed everything they earned with that gameplay. Like, first of all, they should not have featured those annoying ass players that they did. They really ruined the experience, and they made me kind of not want to play it. They didn't make it look enjoyable to me. In the game, like, itself, the graphics, the look of it, the aesthetic wasn't really working for me. You know, like, when I want to play a Pirates game, I think about, like, Black Flag was a good one, or just role-playing in Oblivion or Skyrim. Like, that's the best I've been able to get so far, so I was kind of disappointed about that, I'm not gonna lie. Perhaps it'll get better, and then, you know, I will eat my fucking words happily if it gets better, but so far I'm not really impressed, and they kind of killed what they did build up for me. They showed another State of Decay, State of Decay 2, so that's really cool. State of Decay 1 was interesting. It had a lot of elements of survival games that I would like to see, and it kind of went above and beyond the typical zombie game. So that was really cool of them, and it seems like State of Decay 2 is gonna have all of what made that possible, what made that interesting. So hopefully it lives up to what we did see in the graphics. If that was gameplay that we were seeing in some of those instances on the trailer, bomb already. They definitely stepped their game up with graphics, so I can't even imagine what they've done with gameplay if that's the case. This next one really isn't my cup of tea, but I try to bring some diverse news, not just stuff that I happen to like. So Halo Wars 2 is coming. That's, again, not really my thing, but I will say the villain seemed interesting to me. You know, I like that kind of They look like they might be dumb, but they're really very smart and well-spoken type of villain. So I don't know how much you'll get to see of him because of the type of game that it is. So I probably won't be playing it. But if they made it seem like a bunch of people had been wanting it for a long time. So if you're one of those people, hopefully you're excited about it and it will turn out good for you. The last thing that they ended off with was Project Scorpio, and apparently it's like an enhanced version of the Xbox One, and it runs, what did it say, 4K native games, and it also supports VR. So if that's something you're really looking forward to, I know everybody's kind of on the VR hype train. I'm kind of just waiting to see, are we gonna finally take that step, or is it gonna kind of crash and burn and be that awkward thing we try to move on, like the PlayStation Move, or what was that Xbox thing, whatever that fucking thing was that they tried to force on us. I can't even remember it. It was that bad. Or like the Wii sensor, like that thing they were really hype on, getting up and moving. Is it going to be that awkward, clunky thing we want to forget, or is it going to take us into the next step, the next era of gaming? So who knows? Like, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just kind of waiting back and seeing. But they seem pretty committed, because here we have a console that's kind of going to be not necessarily built around it, but being really inclusive of it. So that's Project Scorpio, and you can look more into that. And, I'm guessing that's something that they're really looking forward to, or really working hard on, because that they did in the press conference on that note. So all in all, to go ahead and wrap this up, I say that they did the best so far. Again, Sony still has yet to come at the time that I'm recording this, and Ubisoft is coming right after, or right before. So we'll see what they have in store for us. Hopefully it's as good, maybe even better. But I have to give Microsoft props, because they definitely have come harder than they did in a long time, and it seems like they're finally starting to listen and take some cues from the consumers. So I always have time to give applause for that. So yeah, stay tuned, because I am going to be doing my thoughts on Sony and Ubisoft, and also tomorrow I think is Nintendo stuff, so there's stuff to talk about on that.